You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
You're listening to Grace, invigorating talk radio with Anita, only on LA Talk Radio. Discover, inspire, evolve.
Hey everybody, good evening. Welcome to Grace Radio Show. It's Thursday. Someone's phone is ringing. Anjela, turn off your phone. This is live radio, my goodness. Where is your radio etiquette?
Left it at
Well,
home.
she hasn't had radio etiquette 101, so we'll forgive her this time.
Thank you, Grace.
Gracefully forgiven. Everybody, tonight I have a very special friend, guest, Anjela Dermenjyan. She's a transformation coach, a wonderful woman, a mother of 3 boys,
Yes.
and she's just doing so much, and she's glowing tonight. So I want to welcome her and thank you.
Thank you, Anita.
And say hello to our listeners tonight.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Anita. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. You are so beautiful tonight.
Thank you. So are you?
We're going to have a very girly show, guys, because, 2 women in the house, lots to talk about, lots of feminine, womanly things to cover. But that's why I'm so excited. A couple things I want to mention. Some people were kind of confused about the purpose of Grace Radio Show. I launched this show to be a legacy for my daughter, whose middle name is Grace. And hopefully in the future she can take over the show and she can run the show with her purpose, her vision. But for now, Mommy's going to be doing it. And
Mommy's in charge.
Mommy's in charge. Charles in charge. And what we do here is we discover, inspire, and evolve together. So if you didn't know, now you know. And there's a lengthier description of the show on my website, graceradioshow.com, so you can read it there. You can even visit latalkradio.com. There's a page about Grace. So, read about it, ask questions, call in, Facebook me, whatever, guys. Much love to everyone out there. I want to send a special shout out to my friends. You know who you are. I love you. Thank you for all the support. Now, getting back to Anjela, very excited to be here with you because you're an all-around very interesting person. When I had the first meeting with you, you disclosed that you used to be a fashion designer.
Yes.
You were a full-time mommy, a dedicated mommy. You actually quit your career for a while and put everything on hold to raise your boys.
Yes.
And now that they're grown and the oldest one is 11.
No, the oldest one is 17 and a half.
Oh,
I
why did I think that he was 11?
The
youngest one.
is 11.
The youngest, I'm sorry. The youngest one is 11. And now you have a lot more time. So you're pursuing your purpose in life.
Yes.
And expanding on that, which is, in your own words.
In my own words. Well, the thing that's always pulled me and kind of driven me was seeking truth.
Mm-hmm.
Seeking truth in a way that expands me, makes me grow, transform, and find my highest purpose. As a human being, the thing that I want more than anything is just to reach my highest potential as a human being.
Yeah, and reading your bio, you kind of came to terms with that when you were very young, kind of a teenager going through depression. You ask yourself, why the existence?
Yeah.
Why do you exist? And that became a constant question in your life.
Yeah, it caused me to question life. It caused me to question, why do we even exist? What's the purpose of life? Why am I here, So, yeah, my childhood was a bit rough. And so I was very withdrawn, not like I am today.
Much more liberated.
Yeah, really withdrawn, introverted. And so...
what was the cause of that, if I may ask?
Well, I was born to an Armenian father and a Russian mother. And Armenian, as much as I love Armenians and the culture, they're very tribal. There's a tribal mindset, and they don't like to intermarry, and therefore just the fact that I had a Russian mother was in and of itself challenging for me. My mother took me to Russia. My Russian grandmother raised me my early years, and then coming back to Armenia, where it was completely opposite. So it was really, really traumatic experience. And then I had the experience repeat itself once we immigrated to America. You know, not fitting in, always feeling like an outsider, like you don't fit in, you don't belong, and like you're on the outside looking in. And it just, I developed this ability, like, you know, like a chameleon, like, you know, I could blend in easily and I could morph myself to please other people. Really, it became like a subconscious thing where I wasn't even aware that I'm doing this thing, trying to, until such time, you know, in my marriage where I discovered, you know, I was like, okay, this is like, I'm no longer existing. I'm no longer myself. I'm like this hollow shell of a being, you know?
I think a lot of women experience that because we're such givers by nature. We sacrifice so much of ourselves, and then we come to this point of like, who are we? What do we want? Where are we going with all this? Yeah,
especially if you're in a long-term relationship. For me personally, I feel like I lost a lot of my identity in the relationship. It took, like, after I'm divorced, it took years for me to get that voice out of my head of what I should be doing, how I should be, what I need, like acting, what I need to be doing. It was not an easy, that was probably one of the hardest things that I've done in my life, is choosing to leave a marriage that on the outside and even somewhat like it was okay. You know, it wasn't horrible. It wasn't, you know, on paper he looks great and he, you know, he's a good person in his own right. Yeah. And the mindset was so strong, you know, it's like, you know, I felt like, oh my God, and the voices from the outside were saying, oh, you're damaging your kids. What are you doing? You're selfish. You're just thinking about yourself.
So you got a lot of criticism from family and friends and people?
No support.
No support.
No support. And yeah, there was a lot of, in some ways, they're still like hoping that I'll, you know, maybe reconcile. Yeah. So having said that, I think in life, I've discovered the most important thing that you can do is listen to your heart. Yeah. Listen to your heart. Listen to that small voice that sometimes is saying, you know, like, this is where you need to be. This is what you need to do. And I think the voice of your soul, basically your heart, is desire. Like, you know, listening to what that thing is on the inside that wants to be. Like, I left my marriage at a time where I didn't have a job. I was like, I left my career to raise my kids. I was out of the workforce for such a long time. It was like, it didn't make any sense, you know, to leave a marriage, have my kids be as young as they were, have no job. Like, what are you doing, you know?
I do want to say we have a call coming in, even though I haven't announced callers calling yet, but I'm curious as to who this is. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Hello. Welcome to Grace Radio. This is Anita. I don't know. We lost them.
Aw.
Anyways, going back to what you were saying. So there was a strong desire within you to do something different with your life when you were in your marriage, and you wanted to break free. And somehow you felt that the marriage, the husband, the whole confinement was like an obstacle in your way.
Yeah. Like I mentioned earlier, like, spirituality and finding truth has been like a strong pull for me. And at some point it became an issue in my relationship.
Yeah, you mentioned when we first met that your husband was sort of complaining, like, why are you meditating so much? Why are you so into spirituality?
There's a little limit.
Why are you chanting?
There's a limit to meditation. Yeah, and so I put it on a shelf. And I put like a lot, like, you know, like you keep compromising for the sake of the relationship. You compromise, and then there comes a point where you're like, what, wait a second, like, who am I? Like, I don't even know who I am, because you keep trying to please, like you keep trying to do things for the outside, for outside reasons, for to be accepted, to be loved, to be, you know, a certain way, and so that you can get like the acceptance that you're looking for in society. And the bottom line is, if you can't listen to your heart, if you have no acceptance for yourself, you have nothing.
Yeah. So when was it exactly that you left, and what did you do immediately with your life?
I left, it's been 7 years now. I curled up in a ball and I cried for a really long time.
One day, few hours, 5 minutes?
I think I would like to say it's probably like, if I didn't have my kids to like take care of, I probably would, it wasn't like, oh my God, I'm free now, I can do anything that I want. It was more like, you know, it's
You're mourning.
I was mourning.
Like
it was
loss.
an up and down, you know, it was a challenge. You know, every day was a new day, and every day, like, some days they were good, some days they were bad. And actually, like,
Your routine had changed.
my life, my whole, everything that
Yeah.
I knew, like, you know, just taking care of my car all of a sudden became like, oh my God, like, oh, because I gave that up, you know, it's like everything, like, you know, I started, you know, following my heart. Following my heart, like one step after another, and like in these serendipitous, miraculous stuff just started happening. And so,
Such as? Share?
okay. Oh my God, how do I put this in, like shorten it and condense it all? I ended up like meeting people from like some of the greats in the world, like, you know, people that like Oprah Winfrey's, like, you know, they're not famous, but they're like some, like the
Influential.
influential, like top 5% of the population, like amazing human beings. And like one thing, you know, and actually that was the first time I was even like, I knew I got exposed to like this whole concept of life coaching. You know, I met somebody, and he like, what do you do for a living? And he's like, well, I'm kind of like a mind doctor. I'm like, what is a mind doctor? What does a mind doctor do? And anyway, amazing human being, left me a bunch of books to read. And so he just kind of I don't know if he planted the seed, and or like all my teachers that I've had like several, you know, spiritual teachers, mentors, guides, like, that have been telling me, oh, you know, you need to be teaching this stuff. And like, I'm like, really, you know, whatever. And then the thing that there's a moment that came in my life that was so significant. It was like, I was talking to somebody in my building, and then he's like, and this is somebody that has been in therapy for like 5-6 years, and he was going through a really rough breakup, like divorce.
Yeah.
And then he looked at me, goes, you know, I think I need to pay you for this. And I'm like, oh, that's what they were talking about. So I need to, this, like, I just really for the first time saw that I had something of value to offer. Like, people wanted what I had to offer. And so I went and I got like certified because I needed to be official. So
in life coaching?
Life coaching.
Transformation coaching, precisely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got the certificate, but it's nothing like doing the work yourself.
Right.
Because you can't really lead anybody anywhere that you haven't been yourself.
Of course.
So, so it's also like me doing the things, like, you know, taking those leaps, taking like, you know, those big things that you think, oh my God, if I do this, I'm going to die. And then you're like, you do it and you think, oh my God, it's the best thing ever. You know, it's like after, you know, because once you're in it, it's so dark and like you can't see your way out. And like the mind so badly wants to know what's the next step. You know, we so badly want to know that, but it's like, it's the not knowing, you know, it's like, it's not knowing. It's okay. Because if you know something, it's already happened in your life. You want something different. You want something that you don't know to happen.
It's the uncertainty that bothers us.
The
so
uncertainty is scary, but like learning to fall in love with not knowing is amazing.
It is.
It's kind of like, oh my God, like
because there's discovery in,
yes,
in that.
If you know what's going to happen, then it's kind of like, oh, okay, you know, you've already been there, but you want something you want to go transcend that level. You want to go to a level that you haven't been before.
Because it's going to test you on some levels. You're going to have to make some leaps, as you said.
Leaps, and your nervous system is not used to that yet, so it doesn't feel normal.
Right.
So, yeah, it helps to have, somebody to guide you through that, to hold your hand and to like tell you, okay, you're going to be okay. Because trust me, it's going to be okay.
Yeah. So what were some of the leaps that you took right after your marriage that kind of helped you establish new patterns, new behaviors, a new lifestyle for yourself?
Well, one of the things that like really, set my life onto this course that I'm on is I came across this practice called orgasmic meditation.
Everyone wants to know what that is. I thought it was just something in your head.
No,
it turns out
it's a real thing.
It's a real
thing, and it's a partnered practice. And just like anything else in life, it's a practice, and you have. It's not sex. It's not foreplay. It's not those things. And I'm not gonna go too much into detail in describing it because everybody can just Google it and there's so much information out there about it. But what it is, it's really very confrontational practice. You get to see yourself. You see all your conditionings, societal conditionings, your shame,
the
guilt, all of that.
The self-consciousness.
Exactly. And you get to work through that. You get to find your voice. You get to learn how to express yourself, ask for what you want. You learn not to take things personally. You learn, oh my God, it's like there's so many different levels in this practice. And so it was one of those things that, it really messes with your mind. And it took me like 2 years, literally took me 2 years to like kind of like say, oh, okay. Because somebody told me about it and I'm like, okay, that sounds really cool, you weirdos.
Yeah.
It's like, that's great. And then I heard it somewhere else from somebody else. And then like,
this is a sign. You're like,
and then when I heard it third time, like, and this is completely coming from different places. And then I read, and I saw, and I heard this talk by a man called Stephen Cutler, who authored a book called The Rise of Superman, which I read. And he talks about the states of flow, when you're like in the zone in flow and what that does, how your body reacts to that. And that's like kind of being with oneness. And so, and then when he mentioned that being in state of orgasm is like cousin to being in the state of flow, I'm like, oh, okay. And then I went down that, rabbit hole. I looked up I read the book. Nicole Daedone is the founder of the One Taste. She has a book out called Slow Sex. I read that. I watched most of her YouTube videos. And then I'm like, all right, this is crazy, but I'm going to dive into that and, see what happens.
Now, going back to your marriage, were you experiencing some difficulties in that arena? And that kind of drove you to take interest in this type of meditation?
Well, yes, and I didn't have any awareness when I was in my marriage. I didn't really, when I think back, I was so complacent. To be honest, I didn't enjoy sex when I was married. I don't think I knew what orgasm was when I was married.
We have some callers right now. Would you like to take some calls?
Sure.
They're dying to ask you questions.
Okay, let's do it.
Grace Radio Show, this is Anita.
Anita, it's Miran. How are you?
Hi, doing well. How are you, my friend?
Outstanding. I'm very interested what Anjela she's saying, and I have two questions for her actually.
Okay, go for it.
And the first question is, how does this practice help you tap into confidence, freedom, and fearlessness? That's the first question.
Confidence, freedom, and fearlessness.
Good question.
Correct.
Yeah, very good question. Well, when you know yourself, when you know your body, when you know how to communicate yourself, your wants, your needs, your requests, you can be precise in your requests, that gives you a sense of confidence that I don't know if there's any other practice that like you discover who you are, you know,
So intimately.
is very intimate, because it's not just you. It's a practice also that focuses your mind, kind of like.
Correct.
You know, we all have a hard time when we're meditating with the mind wandering. This is one of those practices. Like if you can stay present when your state is that elevated, you can stay present everywhere, anytime. And also, you get a sense of not just yourself. You get to feel the people in front of you. It's kind of like you sense people on a deeper level. So it's very liberating knowing that about yourself.
Did that answer your question, Miran?
Yes, very clearly. And my second question, if let's back up a little bit, do you believe is still the orgasmic meditation, and how is it different from a typical meditation? And are you thinking of different things, breathing differently? And do you believe it's reaching climax completely mental and not physical at all?
If I understand your question correctly, it's like how you're asking me, how is orgasmic meditation different from like regular meditation?
Yeah, because you didn't describe what it's like. The
Okay.
audience might be confused about
Okay.
what it is exactly.
So it is a partnered practice. It takes two, and so
Go for it.
all right.
Just tell them what it is.
Okay,
A
so
lot of people, I didn't even know what it was.
It's timed. There's a very strong and clear container that it's always the same way, always happens the same way. It's 15 minutes. There's a timer that will go off at the end of the meditation, at the end of the 15 minutes. Actually, there's a timer that goes off at the end of 13 minutes and then at the end of 15 minutes. So what happens is the woman undresses from waist down and lays down on the floor, butterflies her legs, and the man sits sort of across, like, one leg straddles across her. And what happens is he will stroke the upper left corner of the clitoris for 15 minutes. And there's other different steps within the practice, and it always happens exactly the same way. And at the end of the 15 minutes, when she's up, and there's a grounding that happens where you literally need, like, this is the most, I think, important step of the practice, where you sit there and you say what you felt, like a felt sense. There was a moment in the practice where you felt what in the and what happens is the way that it's different is because it's practice that happens together. Usually, you don't engage in this kind of meditation when you're just regular meditating. So the focus is on the point of contact all the time. And so as there's offers and there's requests and you're seeking, it's like it's two coming together, and like you're listening for this third, like what wants to be, where is the most sensation? And so you're looking for all that, you're following the electricity. And I want to clarify that climax is not the goal. It's sensation. It's your feeling for sensations. You're learning how to feel, basically. You're learning how to sense and feel who you are, what your body is feeling. It's not in your head at all. You have to really, this is a practice.
Be in your body.
This is a practice that takes you out of your head and into your body. And you get to, for me personally, I didn't feel my body. And so it really brought me into my body. And so in my in my spiritual quest, and I've been studying spiritual teachings for, I don't know, maybe 3 decades now. It was something it was always mental. I was always looking to understand something. But the thing is, there's this whole rest of us. Like there's so much that we feel that's in the body. Like your heart is in your body, and like to feel what your heart is, and to feel what your gut feelings are saying, and to feel like your center of creation, your power, is really, really, really powerful.
And at last, your root chakra.
That's your center of creation.
Exactly.
You know? That's where you create from.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to feel that and to transmit through that space, through that, through that center, is it's really raw, and it's really, it's like it's authentic. It's you can't be like, when you're in your head, you're always trying to mold and like be something, be someone else, like please somebody. But when you're in your body doesn't lie.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's that very point of discomfort and awkwardness that puts you in touch with your feelings.
There's so much awkwardness, and like you have to get, you really, I'm telling you, very confrontational practice. Yeah. You get to see yourself, and you're witnessed by somebody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's a double.
It's as awkward as it gets. But
yes,
that's what pushes you to discover yourself and your feelings and learn to receive. And then what does your partner gain out of it?
Learning to receive. For men, each person comes into the practice, for themselves. Nobody's doing anybody any favors. It's like it's for themselves. What happens for the men is they actually do learn to feel, and they learn to, like men. How should I say this? Their deepest desire is to be able to please. Mm-hmm. And most of us women really don't even know what it is that we want in order to communicate that. Mm-hmm. But if a man can feel, which is something that society discourages men to do, if a man opens up his ability to feel, he feels exactly what she's feeling. So there's no guessing game. And so, like, he actually, and I want to say, like, orgasm is so much bigger than climax. Like, orgasm is like when you're in your involuntary, like when you're crying, sneezing, laughing, when you're in your involuntary, like blushing, that's like, when you get goosebumps, that's like your body's already like in orgasm. So orgasm is like climax is like part of orgasm. It's like an ember, and orgasm is like the fire, basically. And so when you can experience that full range, and the female orgasm is completely different than the male. It's not linear. It's not from point A to point B and that's it. It's like it's up, down,
everywhere.
And around. It's everywhere.
It's your entire aura.
And so men get to experience that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Miran, any other questions, my dear?
Yes, she mentioned the word sensations, and it seems by practice expanding our ability to express the extraordinary. So my question would be, can you explain the process of how to speak your sensations?
Oh, that for me, actually, believe it or not, was like the most challenging part of the whole thing. It's like to
verbalize it.
It's to verbalize it. It's like when you feel how do you describe it? And so that was really challenging. And believe it or not, the more you can tap in and like give those sensation words, the more those feelings expand. Like Eskimos, they have 40 words for the color white. Like it's like it brings awareness into your body. The more you can describe it, it's like if you say you can't describe it like in terms of like good, bad, whatever. It's like it's exactly how you felt. You can't say I felt God. Like what does God feel like in your body?
Elaborate.
It's like the temperature. It's was it warm, cold, tingly? How did it feel? Was it like you can give it a color maybe, a texture? Where was it? Location, small, large? It's like. And that's what you start, you start there. And
is there a discussion after the session, after the meditation?
It's just that. It's
the
just
reflection on what happened.
That's the thing. It's not a long discussion. Yeah. It's just like, it's called a frame. You take a frame. It's like a snapshot from a moment that was the highest sensation in you. So you say, there was a moment when I felt blank. And then the partner will say, and there was a moment where I felt blank. And then what happens in the practice is after a while, you're like, oh my God, when they describe their sensations, like, I know exactly when that was because you know you felt it too.
That's amazing, like having that connection with your partner and the potential of having that with any partner that you experience sex with
And it's
in your
not-
life.
And yeah, and even though it's like it's the sexual organs that are being
Yeah.
used, but it's like it translates to all aspects of your life.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just in the, it's not just for the bedroom.
Of course.
Even though that area really does, benefit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for the call, Miran.
Thank you.
Some great
Thank you,
questions.
Angela. Very productive and very informative.
You're
Thank you,
very
my
welcome.
dear. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Likewise.
So we're going to take a quick break. Thank you so much for the call. I'm hoping we get some more calls. Actually, we were getting more calls. I just obviously could not take them simultaneously. So keep calling, guys. We're going to take a quick break and come back to Grace with Anjela Dermenjyan, transformation coach and counselor.
Need a new car? Auto World Leasing and Sales in Glendale has the best deals all year long. Imagine buying or leasing your favorite vehicle today with zero down, zero hassle if you qualify. They'll have you signed and ready to go. Cause you're a rock star and life has never been more exhilarating. Call Auto World now at 818-246-1500. 818-246-1500.
You're listening to Grace, invigorating talk radio with Anita, only on LA Talk Radio. Discover, inspire, evolve.
Hey guys, welcome back. This is Grace Radio Show every Thursday, 8 p.m. Pacific time. My guest is Anjela Dermenjyan, transformation coach. She's also certified in the orgasmic meditation that we were just talking about before the break. If you'd like to follow her Instagram account is Anjela with a J, ANJELA 27. And then
My website is probably a better place.
yeah, to locate her
Yeah.
for everything. And that's
AlignConnectTransform.com.
perfect. Angela, you have a transformation workshop coming up. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Actually, it's a manifestation workshop.
Oh,
So I thought what could be more important than creating your life?
mm-hmm.
And I'm sure we've all heard of law of attraction and we've heard of all these, things, and we, as a culture now we're like, information is so readily available.
Mhm.
Everything we need to know is out there. You can get to know anything, anytime, anywhere you want. But we consume information, our mind feels good, but then we don't really practice it. So I decided to put it into practice. Consciously create your life. So the principles of, the universal principles of creation,
Yeah.
of manifesting stuff, going over that. But actually, the purpose for the workshop is to actually consciously create together. And I think there's so much power in a group.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason why I think it would be really good to do it as a group because, the support that we get from one another, the things that we learn from one another, and like the energy that the group holds for each other, I think is powerful. So I'm really
Sure.
excited about that.
What is the age group of
Um,
people who are invited to do this if they wish?
Actually,
Doesn't matter.
I think, teen and up
Yeah.
is like, from
Mhm.
17, 18 to 100.
And how is it for a few hours, for a few days?
It's
What is-
going to start next Friday,
Okay.
September 7th,
Mhm.
2 hours for 6 consecutive weeks. I
Mm.
thought it would be good to start with 6 weeks and see where that takes us.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And then there's information about that again on my website.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
You're offering some giveaways today.
Yes.
Can you tell us more about that?
Well, I made it really easy for your listeners. So there's anybody like and originally I was thinking I'd do 3 free sessions for 3 1-hour sessions for the first 3 people that sign up for it. But I think I would like to do as many as I possibly can. So whoever signs up, I'll try my best to contact, and we'll get like a 1 hour free session with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought also it'd be good to, if you decide to work farther with me, or if you want to sign up for any of the other programs that I'm offering, the coaching, the one-on-one coaching in particular, I wanted to give everyone a 50% discount.
Wow, guys. Wow. Take advantage of that. She's being very generous. Contact her on her website. And you can also read more about Anjela on the website. And she had this interesting posting about you. It says, you want more joy, more connection, more clarity, more direction, more passion, more purpose. Are you feeling lost, confused, or depressed? Do you feel like the ground has been pulled out from under you? Are you unsure of who you are without the relationship, job, or spouse? When you are ready to make changes, ready to commit to yourself and your life, ready to discover who you really are, ready to awaken your passion, ready to connect to your purpose, ready to uncover your best style, because she's also a fashion designer.
Yes.
Your life will open up in ways you can't even imagine right now, and she can help you get there. So reach out.
Yeah, my whole thing is about moving from the heart into the head. I mean, the other way around, moving from the head into the heart, and like really following your heart, even like when it comes to what you put on your body. So I wanted to bring in my, background from fashion, and like nothing makes you feel good instantaneously than putting something on that you love, that you feel good, and not necessarily following like the trends or the fads or whatever, but the thing that like fits your body, fits your personality,
the color that suits you.
Yeah, something that makes you come alive, like puts like the spring in your step, nothing, not what, so and so Vogue says that you need to wear this month or this year.
It's funny, speaking of fashion, I had a thought today because I was driving and I spotted some, I was passing by a school and I noticed how many of the kids were actually wearing skinny jeans. I mean, that thing just doesn't go out of style, and it's been around for like more than a decade. I'm like, when are skinny jeans gonna go away? Because everyone is wearing them, including the fat neighbor down the street, and it just does not look good. And I hate to say that, but it's true. Yeah, I mean, you see people wearing these clothes that doesn't really fit them, and they've just they're all in their comfort zone. Yep. What happened to style and being graceful? Yeah. And elegant.
That's what I'd like to, bring out in people. It's like your own personal sense of style, I'll go in, go through the wardrobe, see what fits, what doesn't fit, what your thing is, and like connect you to, a virtual stylist that you'll get like stuff sent to you,
that's
monthly.
Awesome.
And so,
do you work with people who have weight issues?
Well, we all have weight issues, whether you're too fat, too skinny, too tall, too short, whatever. We all have issues. And so there's ways that, you can highlight certain things, accentuate your positives, and eliminate the negatives. And so,
but I'm asking in the sense of like, what if somebody's really struggling with their weight and they really want to lose the weight, but they have a mental block? Do you work with that?
Oh, yes. Yeah, for sure.
Because a lot of that is emotional too,
Yes, our bodies are so smart. Yeah. Like there's so much intelligence in the body, and so it'll put on the weight sometimes just to protect yourself, to hide things, and that's why sometimes weight loss doesn't stick, because if you just follow a diet or whatever, but the thing that the reason that you're not, you are, overweight, you're not dealing with the root cause of it, the weight comes back.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, I grew up really self-conscious about my weight, but I was the other extreme. I was very skinny. So it wasn't until my 20s I started feeling comfortable with wearing dresses and being girly. Until then, I was a complete tomboy. But I was like so self-conscious. I was like, am I ever going to look like a woman? Am I ever going to have the curves? But, now being a mommy and having gone through pregnancy and lost the pregnancy weight and kept like maybe 10 pounds of that, I'm like, you know what? I think I'm good. Thank you, God. You've kind of blessed me with good genes, because at this point, I'm grateful with how I look.
There you go. It's like you don't like we don't really realize like the universe is always listening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just because, you know, when you say that this is what I want, just
Yeah.
because it doesn't happen instantaneously does not mean that you're not going to get it. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you're dissing men, like, you know, you're talking negatively about men, like, you know, during work, and then a month later you're wondering why you can't get a date, you know.
Sounds like me. I'm always talking, not negatively, but
it's
I'm
like-
always picking on them. But
It's-
for fun and for laughter, you know, I don't mean half of it.
And
Because I
like-
have a lot of male friends and I love them. Hey,
Yeah,
Love you.
men are wonderful.
kisses.
Yeah, and so yeah, the way, you know, you wanted it,
Yeah.
God says, you know, here you go, you got it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So
So how has your life transformed so far, from, you know, from the point of your separation to what you're living now?
well, I definitely have a sense of myself that I didn't have before.
Are you happier?
Yes, I am comfortable in my skin. Like I'm, for the first time, like I am comfortable in my skin, walking around in the world,
Yeah.
knowing who I am and what I am, and so, and not wanting to conform or like try to fit in. So to me, that's like the highest.
Mm-hmm.
My relationship with my kids is amazing. It's like it's the more I realize, the more I change on the inside, and like the more I soften and the more I open my heart, like I'm living from my heart space more than I ever have. I don't have to do stuff, you know. It's like I'm like, most mornings I'm on a call, and you know, now they're in school, they have to get up. I do nothing. And I have teenagers. I'm telling you, they get up, get themselves ready, make their breakfast. And like the other night, actually, I'm like going to bed, and my 15-year-old gets up. Actually, he's doing homework. He gets up, follows me, and gives me a hug, and it says good night. I'm like what?
So you don't have to chase them anymore. They come
I'm
after
not
you.
yeah, I'm not chasing. And
Put
so,
on your socks. Wear your pajamas.
do
Go to
this,
bed.
do that. No, it's like, and
Yeah.
like in the morning, I actually went, and like everybody's made their beds. I'm like, is this? Yeah, it's like I had a moment just like day before yesterday. I was like sitting there. I'm like even like the 11-year-old, his bed is like so nicely tucked in. I was so impressed. I'm like, I need to tell him after school how impressed I am with him. And like in even the 17-year-old, like he made the bed. Like I didn't have to say anything. Like my middle son is perfectionist, so I never have to worry.
So
about
now
him.
you see the fruit of your labor. Like they are grown. They do their own thing.
I see it's the fact that I have softened. I'm in my heart, so they're like in their hearts more, and like, and the interactions are so like they're effortless, where before it was like, you know, I had to chase them, get them to do stuff. It's like I'll tell my 11-year-old it's time, like I want you to do some reading, and he's like, oh, okay. I'm like, and that's been happening so much. I'm like so impressed.
That's amazing. Who were some of the influential people, going back to the greats, that you looked up to growing up within the last 3 decades of your life as you got into spirituality?
As I got into spirituality, because I did a lot of exploring, like I went to different churches, I took the religious world classes. I came across SRF, Yogananda's teachings. He was definitely influential in my life. I did go, you know, regularly attend the SRF temple. I then started, like, one of my very first spiritual books that kind of like that I read was, I was in my early 20s, was The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz.
Oh, yes.
That had an impact, and then from there on I went on to Wayne Dyer and
Deepak Chopra.
Deepak
I love
Chopra,
him.
Eckhart Tolle, you know, Louis Hay, and but like it was not until after my divorce that I actually got to meet like real life people that are like that. Like it's one thing to read about it in a book, but it's another when you actually physically meet somebody who's like that in the world. And so I you know, I like Michael Beckwith. I go to Agape.
Oh, Agape, yes. I'm familiar with that.
And Kyle Cease is right now a big influence in my world. He's one of the, how should I put it? He's like one of the most authentic transformation people that I know.
Mm-hmm.
If your listeners want to look him up, kylesees.com, you can find him. He's funny. He's a comedian, so the way that he delivers his message is funny, and he's so in his heart, and he's like really evolving in front of you, and so he's an amazing human being, and he's definitely one of the big influences in my life right now.
I want to take a quick break, but when we come back, I want to ask you about what some of your daily practices are for tuning into yourself.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Anjela. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We shall come back.
Need a new car? Auto World Leasing and Sales in Glendale has the best deals all year long. Imagine buying or leasing your favorite vehicle today with zero down, zero hassle if you qualify. They'll have you signed and ready to go. Because you're a rock star and life has never been more exhilarating. Call Auto World now at 818-246-1500. 818-246-1500.
You're listening to Grace, invigorating talk radio with Anita, only on LA Talk Radio. Discover, inspire, evolve.
Welcome back, my listeners. I just want to express my love for you all. You guys have been so supportive lately. I really, really appreciate all the comments and the likes on my pages. But better yet, go on my website, check out all the archived videos. You can post comments and feel free to donate to the show because this is public service. Love you all. Welcome back. We have Anjela Dermenjyan, transformation coach, also certified in orgasmic meditation. If you want to learn more about that, go to her website, alignconnecttransform.com. And Anjela, I wanted to know more about your daily practices. What do you do as a spiritual being that you've evolved to being today to kind of keep you grounded and centered at all times amid your daily busy life?
Nothing could be more important and more vital than just sitting and listening to your heart. That's it. Like to just sit, like, and I've done that. Like there's been days where I'll sit for 2 hours and just listen to my heart and see what comes.
And that isn't like, it isn't necessarily like meditation. It's just like being still.
It's just like sitting there and listening to your heart and seeing what comes up and allowing for it to be there, not pushing it away, not trying to do anything with it. It's just like, it's like loving whatever's coming up because there's a purpose for it to be there. It wants to be seen. Actually, one really good movie that demonstrates this part, like it's a Pixar movie. God, it's like it's all these little different characters inside this girl. Like one is anger, one is like, it's like all those things are there to show her something, to teach her something. And I think all the adverse experiences, all the pain that we actually have inside is there to teach us, to show us something, and to be accepted. And again, when we talk about wanting to be unconditionally loved, well, the best place to start is to unconditionally accept all parts of you. We all have darkness inside. We all have all these different parts inside of us that want to be seen. And so one important practice that I have is like every day sitting for about an hour meditation. Another thing that I do is, and I try to do this at least 5 times a week, is I have a person that I worked with, Sarah McCrum. She does these amazing relaxation things that she leads. It's an activation of energy. It's like working on energetic level. It's like being conscious of energy because we're constantly receiving new information. It's constantly coming. And so in order to be able to receive it, you have to be relaxed. Just kind of like an orgasm. Like if you're vigilant, you can't be relaxed. And it's like, it's like learning to relax basically in life.
Let go, relax.
Let go. And so she leads these amazing relaxation sessions, and it's actually free. She does it like every single day. It's on Facebook. I don't know if her group is public or private, but her you can find her at sarahmccrum.com if anybody's interested. She's really fantastic. She's English, so she's got this British accent, so it's really fun listening to her voice. Those are my 2 pillars that I do. The next thing that I try to get to do is like to be in nature as much as I can. Like when I go outside, like I'll take a walk, I'll actually take off my shoes and like put my feet on the ground and like in like the sun, my face in the sun and my feet in the ground, just like, you know. So I'm like
absorbing
absorbing the earth,
the energy,
and the sun. And so we don't realize how important the sun
that
is.
is so important.
And so a lot of us, like, the more technology is developed, the more indoors we go,
Yes.
and we don't really realize how much we sit in front of screens, and that's the screen is blue, and so we need the opposite of that. So, and I've noticed personally for myself, taking a walk automatically changes my state of being, and so I do that. Those are my staples.
That's
every day.
excellent. That's excellent. I'm curious as to what sort of advice you could give to young women as they're in their development to become wholesome human beings and women who are happy, liberated, and free, coming from your experience.
Actually, for women in particular, there seems to be like a lot of stigma, you know, around your body and the way that you're supposed to behave and act in life. And it is the most important thing, I think, for women, especially to develop self-love. You know, it's like, and not, I think especially right now, the way the culture is, the things that I see women doing and getting trapped into is like that everybody's looking for something outside of themselves. They want to look like somebody else. They want to be like somebody else. They want to be liked and loved, and so they mold themselves into like these different. Like,
And they look
so
up to
sad.
celebrities.
It's so sad. I see like these young, beautiful women, and they all have plastic surgery. So, like, I would say, just like to the women, just loving, like, just love yourself.
Appreciate your uniqueness, right?
Yeah, appreciate who uniquely you are. Your unique voice. You are you for a specific reason.
Yeah.
You know, we're all so different, and that there's like, you know, every flower is different for a reason. Like, you know, we have orchids sitting here on the table, but roses have a different flavor, and one is not worse or better than the other one. And it's like, and for you to see who you are, and sometimes it is hard to see the label from inside the bottle, but just like sitting, like, you know, just sit and see who you are, like, and appreciate yourself. But sometimes it doesn't, you know, not looking for it from outside.
Yeah. I think a lot of women look for validation all the time from their parents, men, friends, and they get all wrapped up in that.
Yeah, and so that would be the biggest thing. It's like for the women to have self-worth, self-value, self-confidence, and in order to do that, I think you really have to start listening to your own heart, and start listening to your own little voice that's inside your head, and doing the things that your friends might not be doing, and having and it does take courage, and, you know, to be authentically who you are. And there's so much peer pressure on women, like, when they're young. So my heart goes out to them, but at the same time, you know, it's like when you start walking your truth, it is so empowering, and that's what we want. That's what we want in the world. We want to, you know, we don't want like a bunch of Barbie dolls. We want like the real deal, authentic. Like, look at Oprah Winfrey, and she's like gains weight, loses weight, gains weight, but like look at the she's moving and shaking the world. You know. So yeah.
What is your biggest aspiration at this point in your life?
My biggest aspiration is I'd like to be an inspiration of like living an authentic life. And I don't like using that word authentic. Like being like an inspiration for my kids, first and foremost, for my clients, like of having, you know, gone there, like, you know, been there, and, you know, and like, and doing it, like walking my talk, saying, you know, having my words, actions, deeds, you know, everything aligned.
Yeah. Do you feel that they're aligned at this point within you?
I think, you know, I think I have moments when there are, and I have moments when, you know,
Yeah.
it kind of, you know, it goes in and out, but I have more times when I am than when I'm not now. And it feels damn good
I'm sure.
when it is. And
Yeah.
yeah, and
Do you see yourself returning to the fashion world to pursue more of that
um,
as time goes on?
maybe there was a time where I connected with a woman who was in New York, and I tried, but you know, like the commute back and forth, you know, to New York and LA was a little hard. My kids were younger too, but it was a really good opportunity at the time. It just, you know, didn't fit into my life. That's why you know, I can't let go of it either. So that's why I'm bringing it into
Your workshops.
into my practice. Like, you know, it's like I want to do transformation from the inside and the
I
outside.
love
you know?
it. I love it. Appearance does matter a lot.
I think that's an
You know?
immediate feel good,
Mm-hmm.
and then we work on the inside, like the stuff that, you know, I think really matters. But like looking good, you know, you feel good.
I'm sure your children have gained a lot from your practices too, and seeing you become who you've become, and being kind of like obviously a role model for them. And do they come to you for advice a lot?
It's been happening. Like,
Yeah?
no, it's been a challenge. It hasn't always been like that. My kids have been, especially my oldest. He's been angry with me at like for like when his early teen years. He's like really hated me for a long time, or at least it felt like a long time. I felt like,
Why?
well, you know, I got divorced and he was young and he
Oh.
was a teenager.
Blaming
so,
you.
And yeah, he was really, really angry with me. And then, you know, just, you know, trying to individuate, you know, cutting the apron strings. So like I see that happening with my second child. Like he's individuating too, and there's all kinds of hormones, all this stuff is raging. And but he's not angry with me, like, but he snaps at his little brother all the time. But now, like, and I thought when my oldest was like so angry with me and so, you know, I thought, oh my God, okay, I've lost him, you know. It's like, but still to have the courage to do what I'm like, you know, there was many nights where I thought, oh my God, am I doing the right thing? What have I done? But now he actually calls me for advice. We go, like, he makes dates. We actually go out, have dinner and dates, and like, and he'll text me, what do you think I should do? I was like, oh my God, like, yeah.
I think children come to terms with that at the end of the day, we're all just individuals and we do our best. And there comes a point where they stop blaming and they start accepting you for who you are. Because I kind of went through that too with my mom and dad, you know, being separated. I would always blame my mom. Oh,
your parents are
yes,
separated.
Yes. I kind of went through that phase. And then came a time where I was like, okay, mommy wants to do her, and I accept that, you know, and she deserves to live her life the way she wants. And soon as I got married and I had my baby and family, that whole idea just disappeared. I just didn't care anymore. I just want to see her happy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm like, so now, like, that I've got that, like, my biggest aspiration now is like, because I've dedicated so much of my life to my kids and wanting to do right by them. Now my next thing is like, I just want to like, because I've done everything I can for them. I just want to be like somebody that they're proud of, that like, I want to inspire them to be their higher self, the best selves that they can. So that's my thing that I'm working on.
The thing that you're working on. Well, that's beautiful. It's been so great chatting with you. We have to wrap up the show. We didn't even take many breaks this show because we had so much to cover. I thank you for coming down. It was very inspirational and interesting, I'm sure, for all of our listeners. So everybody, if you want to find Anjela, you can contact her through alignconnecttransform.com. And she also has her social media links there, so you can connect through that and just become friends with her and just IM her, talk to her, sign up for the workshops.
Yes, I would love to hear from you all. And thank you, Anita. Thank you for having me on the show. You are a beautiful, radiant woman, and I am so proud that you're doing what you're doing in the world.
Thank you so much. Thank you for for coming, and we'll tune in again, guys, next Thursday at 8 p.m. Pacific time. And ciao, ciao. Have a great night.
You're listening to Grace, invigorating talk radio with Anita, only on LA Talk Radio. Discover, inspire, evolve.